Good evening and welcome to the Cricket Forum. I'm your host, Alric Williams, and I'll be reviewing the first day's play of the first test match between South Africa and the West Indies, playing at the Supersport Park in Centurion, South Africa. So, as you can see on screen, we have the team that was selected by the West Indies. We have Craig Brathwaite, Tejaran Chandapal, Raymond Reefer, Jermaine Blackwood, Kyle Mayers, Ruston Chase, Joshua De Silva, Jason Holder, Alzarri Joseph, Kemar Roach, and Shannon Gabriel. So the notable absentee from this playing 11 was Budakesh Moti, and the West Indies have said, suffered a back injury, and Kemar Roach was a person who took his place. So clearly the West Indies had in mind to play two spinners, Ruston Chase and Moti. But because of Moti's injury, Kemar Roach took his place. So in reviewing the day's play, South Africa, they fielded two debutants, Alzarri and Coetzee, the fast bowler. So here is South Africa's 11. Dean Elgar, who is the former skipper, Aiden Markram, Tony Alzarri, who is one of the debutants, Keegan Peterson, Temba Bavuna, who is the current skipper, Heinrich Klaassen, Matthew Sammy, Marco Janssen, Kagiso Rabada, Henrik Nortje, and the new debutant, Gerald Coetzee. So that was their playing 11. Bavuma, he won the toss, and he chose to bat first. It was a good toss to win, because based on the comments after the toss, the West Indies also would have batted. So it was a good toss to win. The track looks a decent batting track, and the score at the end of the first day's play tells you how good a batting track it is. So South Africa, they started the innings, their first innings, and they ended the day on 314 for 8 of 82 overs, scoring at 3.82 runs per over. We'll just break down session by session to see how the West Indies managed to fight back, because it was indeed a great fight back from the West Indies after South Africa got off to a flying start and a decent start throughout the first two sessions. So in the first session, South Africa scored 99 without loss. So they had a solid platform from which they could launch a huge total. The West Indies, in my estimation, bowled a lot of 4 balls. They gave the South Africans too many easy deliveries to score up. And you can notice this was evident by the fact that Markram played a lot of cover drives, meaning they were pitching up the ball into the hitting zone, and he was playing some classical and some glorious cover drives. Markram, he scored his 6th test century. He scored 115 runs off 174 balls before it was bowled by Alzarri Joseph. So South Africa, at lunch, were 99 without loss. And bear in mind that we didn't bowl as well as we should. Also dropped a chance when South Africa were 25 without loss. Kyle Mayers induced an edge from off Dean Elgar's bat. Went to third slip, and it was put down by Jermaine Blackwood. So we didn't start off well, and at the end of the first session, South Africa were 99 without loss. It was a tough 2 hours for the West Indies. And remember, prior to the start of the test series and this match, Craig Brathwaite said that they needed to play and take the game session by session, hour by hour. So South Africa clearly was on top at lunch, ending at 99 without loss. After lunch, the South Africans, the Proteas, continued to pile on the runs. And at tea, they were now 206 for 1 in 53 overs. Markram was at this time on 97 and Alzarri was on 22. So they also continued to lay that solid platform to launch a huge total against the West Indies. So the West Indies continue to bowl poorly, a lot of balls in the hitting areas, and the South Africans duly obliged. And they continue to pile on the runs, and the West Indies were chasing leather for that entire session with a loss of only 1 wicket. The West Indies, after tea, was where they started to put the balls in the right areas. And South Africa had a major collapse because at tea they were 206 for 1 in 53 overs, as I said. And in the post-tea session, West Indies took 7 wickets for 108 runs. So this shows that the West Indies put in a much better bowling performance in the last session. And if we are going to be competitive against South Africa, we have to bowl a lot better in the sessions, and especially in the first hour of any test match. That should belong to the bowlers, but we did not make use of a pitch that was offering something, and the South Africans capitalized. I'm seeing your comment breakers environment that you are not believing that Moti's back problem was the reason why he's out of this test match. So you're saying that it's an excuse. Well, without further information, we'll have to take them at their word. But it would be foolhardy to leave Moti out of the team after seeing what he did in Zimbabwe and taking so many wickets. He was the leading bowler for the West Indies. So if what you're suggesting is they left him out for a pure cricket reason, then that there's no way we could afford for them to do that. But I will take their word for it at this moment, because they are saying that he picked up the back injury in the warm-up game prior to this test match. And without further information, we'll have to accept their word until we have further and better particulars. You are saying excuse to play the Bajan ban. Again, in the West Indies, we're always going to have this problem of insularity. But as I said, without further information, we'll have to give them the benefit of the doubt that he was injured, and that is why he was not playing. So let's get back to the analysis and review of how well West Indies did in the third session. The bowlers, as I mentioned, started to put the balls in the right areas. They started to target the stumps. And Alzarri Joseph was the pick of our bowlers. He finished the day bowling 16 overs, no maidens, 3 for 60, going at an economy rate of 3.75 runs per over. Kyle Mayers bowled 10 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 23. Kemar Roach, 15 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 65. Shannon Gabriel, along with Jason Holder, they also picked up 1 wicket apiece. Gabriel bowled 12 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 49, while Holder bowled 14 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 64. Chase also bowled 14 overs, no maidens, none for 33, and Jermaine Blackwood also bowled a solitary over that cost him 4 runs. So the West Indies, based on how South Africa looked at tea at 206 for 1, they were looking down the barrel of a huge and massive total. But for them to pull back or restrict South Africa to 314 for 8 at the close of play tells us how well they performed in the third session. And if we are going to stand a chance in this test match, we'll have to ensure that we get those remaining 2 wickets before South Africa make 350, because already 314, having won the toss and elected to bat, is a very good start. So West Indies will have to continue to put the ball in good areas get those remaining 2 wickets, and then transition into posting a good first inning total to get as close as possible to South Africa's total and try to surpass it to get whatever lead that they can get. But I believe that South Africa, based on their performance, still are slightly ahead, but West Indies have clawed it back and they have done well to pick up 7 wickets in that final session on day 1. So I'm seeing breakers environment here again. We have to start with Alzarri and Shannon in the morning. Yes, because the new ball will be available shortly, because I think the South Africans face 82 overs in their on the first day. So yes, the new ball will be available come tomorrow early. So we'll need to utilize that new ball and to get those 2 wickets as quickly as possible. We cannot afford for the South Africans to get close to 400 runs or in excess of 400. We will have to get them out early on the second day and post a decent total. Hopefully we can score over 200 runs, about 250 runs on the second day with the loss of a few wickets. But again, South Africa, their strength is their bowling attack. Their batting was where the question mark was, and their batsmen came through. Even though they collapsed in the third session, they have still posted a decent total, because to choose to bat and score over 300 on the first day is good, but they could have been in a much better position based on where they were, especially at tea. So West Indies have to ensure that they get those 2 wickets out as quick as possible and then mount a decent reply to South Africa's first innings. So I'm seeing Garland Tapper here saying that we will have to make 550 if we are going to win the game. If we can get that, then we will definitely be in a good position. But our batting, we know the brittle nature of West Indies batting. So I hope that Craig Brathwaite and Chanderpaul can give us a solid start and set a firm foundation where our batsmen can build on. We need to get a decent start. We have to do something similar to what they did in terms of posting a 100-run partnership for the first wicket. Kurt Arniard, forgive me if I'm butchering a name. Hi, good night, host and co-host. The reason why them not picking Moti is the batting is weak. So they pick Chase to lend the team batting, because after the silver, there's no more batting. I don't think, as I said, without, it will be insane, crazy, in my view, not to pick Moti after his performance in New Zealand. And based on the team that they selected, it is clear that they were going with two spinners, because Roach came in for Moti based on what they said. So I don't think that's the reason why he was left out. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that he has a back injury, because it wouldn't make any cricketing sense to leave Moti out, your best spinner, the man that has been performing, coming off the just concluded Zimbabwe tour, where he was a leading wicket taker and our best bowler on tour. To leave him out for anything other than the injury that they have claimed or said that he has makes no sense. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that he's injured. So Garland Tapper says the captain will have to bat for long. Not just the captain. Craig Brathwaite, Chanderpaul, they will have to bat, and they are known for occupying the crease. They will have to bat for a very long time. If they can bat for the entire duration of the second day, then West Indies will have a good chance of posting a decent total to match what South Africa will put up. So we know that they are known for occupying and batting long. But the question is they need to not just to occupy, but they need to score at a decent rate so that we can put ourselves in a good position to reply to their total and to possibly win the test match. And as I said, when we were looking at the preview yesterday, I believe that this series will come down to how well the batsmen do. Because South Africa, their strength is their bowling. With Rabada and Rick Nokia, this debutant, Coetzee, is a quick bowler. I think these are the men that will pose a serious challenge to the West Indies team. And if we can overcome this challenge and post decent totals, then we will stand a chance. The South African batting has not been doing so well of late. But the fact that they have put up over 300 runs so far puts them in a great stead to possibly win this test match. So it all depends on how well West Indies will perform tomorrow morning to get those early wickets and to post a decent total at the end of day 2. We cannot afford to be bowled out within the day. We have to bat deep into the third day. So Chris is saying, why are there 6 Barbadians in the team? These 6 players, we have Brathwaite, Reefer, Chase. These players basically, yes, the team, the names are there. Brathwaite, Reefer, Mayers, Chase, Holder. These players basically pick themselves. The only question mark we can have is over Jason Holder's position in the team. And I think that he's the one that probably should have made way. But the fact that Moti is out with injury, that's why Kemar Roach came in for him. Athena is saying that batting long is just 1 point. Singles is just as effective. Yeah, that's the point I'm making. So we know that Brathwaite and Chanderpaul, they are known for occupying the crease for long periods. That is their strength. But occupation of the crease is not the be-all and end-all. We have to be keeping the scoring board ticking over. So we have to pick up those singles and those twos, and when the bad balls come, they put them away to the boundary. They need to ensure that they keep the scoreboard ticking over. Because that is one of the problems that we have had with these 2 batsmen. They don't score at a fast rate. So we need to ensure that they occupy the crease, which is their strength. They have strong levels of concentration, but they also need to ensure that they keep the scoreboard ticking over. Because at the end of the day, you want to ensure that runs are being piled on. So we have to be batting time, but we have to be ensuring that we have runs on the board to get as close as possible to the South African total with enough time to get them out in the second innings and possibly have a total that we can get so that we can win the test match, because we need to pick up wins if we are going to climb in the test championship table. Dwight Morgan is saying that they always at the last wicket make 50 or 100 run partnership. Yes. In the past, we have seen where our bowlers allow the opposing team tail to wag. And we cannot afford for that to happen in this match. We have to get them out within the first half an hour, at worst case, the first hour. And we have to ensure that we minimize their scoring opportunities. We need to ensure that they are kept on a tight leash, put the balls in the right areas, targeting the stumps, so that if they miss, we hit. Either we are getting them out bowled or getting them out leg before. We need to target the stumps, keep the balls out of the hitting zone, target the stumps, and ensure that we can skittle these 2 wickets out under 350, and then take it from there and launch an assault on their total. Sheldon Smith is saying, I'm getting concerned that players are getting injured so easy, which tells me that they are not working on their fitness. Well, that is a concern. And for a spin bowler shouldn't be breaking down like that and having that sort of injury, back injury. We need to ensure that our fitness levels are up so that we can play match after match without having to be out of the team because of injury. David Darrow is saying, is Moti Shane Warne? I just don't understand. No, we are not saying that he's Shane Warne by any stretch of the imagination. But he was our best bowler in Zimbabwe, and he was clearly a shoo-in for the first test match against South Africa. So the fact that he was not selected because of injury would be a serious blow to the plans of the West Indies, because they were depending on him. And if you look at the first day, Roston Chase bowled 14 overs. So he would also be required, especially when we need to give our pace bowlers a rest. So for example, like going into tomorrow morning with the ball being close to 90 overs, we'd want our spinner to be bowling here, and then our pace bowler can get the new ball. So we're not saying that he's Shane Warne or Murali Taran, but he's a key member of the squad. That is why he was selected to tour South Africa. And especially because of how well he did against Zimbabwe, we were hoping that he could deliver a similar performance to help the West Indies overcome the South Africans. Hotep Radio is saying that, well, Moti is not a leg spinner, but currently he's our best spinner. That's the point. He's the best that we have, so we have to use what we have. We don't have the deep pool like some other teams. So when we have a player that is performing, and a one that has performed as well as Moti did against Zimbabwe, albeit against Zimbabwe, we have to play the opponent that is in front of us. He performed well against Zimbabwe, and we're expecting him to put in a similar performance against South Africa. Ted Carl is saying that if Blackwood didn't drop Elgar, we would have been in a way better position, and that is true. We don't know what could have happened if Blackwood had taken that chance, and it wasn't a very difficult chance when South Africa were 25 without loss. That could have been 25 for 1. And as I said, South Africa, their batting has not been that strong of late. They don't have the players of old that will drive any fear in the bowlers. The only person of note that I can see in this South African team is Markram, and he's the one that punished us. Elgar was not in any form, but he played himself in form. He made 71. And he was a man that was dropped when he was on 10. So catches, they say, win matches. So we need to ensure that we take our chances. They may be few and far in between, but we need to take our chances when they present themselves. Breakers environment is saying, yeah, we openers, he need to see out Henrik opening spell. Exactly. He, along with Rabada, they are the two protagonists that West Indies need to see off. And it's not going to be easy because these are seasoned campaigners, especially Rabada. And Henrik Noke is bowling at a decent clip. And he puts the ball in good areas. And he's going to force our batsmen to play. So we have to ensure that we defend well. And when those scoring opportunities present themselves, we need to dispatch them to the boundary to keep the scoreboard ticking over. Victor Danny is saying that Moti is not hurt. On what basis are you saying that? We can always speculate. We are not down there in South Africa, so we have to give the selectors and the administrators the benefit of the doubt. If they say that he's injured, unless we have proof otherwise, then we have to accept that and give them the benefit of the doubt. Victor Danny is saying, why play Chase whenever a Guyanese player shine? Drop him from the side. Moti is not hurt. There we go again. We have no basis to say that Moti is not hurt. Holland Road shouldn't be playing. Alec and Jordan should have played. Bajan's bias again. And I don't know how much time we have to talk about this insularity. He's not hurt. This is a farewell. He's not hurt. This is a farewell tour for Chase and Roach. Well, we know Roach for one. We know that Roach has not done well when he has gone away. and that is why he was dropped from the second test in Zimbabwe. He has not done well on tours. He has done very well in the West Indies in our conditions, but he has not delivered the goods when he has toured. And based on what was said, he replaced Moti, which indicates to us that he was not in the 11. So the selectors have acknowledged that Roach is not doing as well as he should when we are away. So that's why he was not slated to start. But because of Moti's injury, he came in. Dwight Morgan is saying, I'm happy that Da Silva are making some good score from his fine 100 couple months back. I just want Chase to come to the party. Yes, and Da Silva did well in the warm-up game. Holder also did well. So I hope that when they do get an opportunity to bat, that they can make good use of the opportunity and post a good score in excess of 50. Joseph spot on. The other end of Roach, Gabriel is old, lazy mentally, not ready to perform. Gabriel bowls without thought, just brute force and ignorance, if I may add. That has been the problem with some of our bowlers. They tend to not, and that is why we were under the cosh in the first two sessions. They were not bowling the balls in the right areas. Too many full deliveries, short and wide. There were a lot of horizontal bat strokes, which indicates that they were either short and wide, and there were a lot of cover drives, especially from Markram and Elgar, which tells us that they were pitching the ball too far into the hitting zone. And these men duly obliged and took the bowlers apart in the first two sessions. David Darrow is saying that South Africa didn't play any spinner. Can you tell me why? Yes, their main spinner was Maharaj. He didn't play, so I guess they must know something about the wicket, why they chose to go without a spinner. It's their backyard, and the fact that they chose not to play a spinner, they would know the conditions better than we do, but playing a spinner, especially Moti if he was available, would not hurt. And we are going to need a spinner, especially if the test match goes into a fifth day, a fourth and a fifth day. Having a spinner won't hurt. How does a spinner get hurt so easy? That's a question from Mr. Casanova. Well, we're not sure what the problem was, but the news coming out of South Africa is that Moti suffered a back injury during the warm-up game prior to the first test match. Victor Danny saying that Black would need to be dropped. Eddie Prasad, Moti should open his damn mouth if he's not hurt and was dropped unceremoniously. Well, he's new to the team, and I don't think it would be well if he's not hurt. Yeah, I see the comment. If he's not hurt, then I think he should, and that might put him in a very difficult spot. Because if he's not hurt, it clearly means that he was dropped from the team and someone else was chosen ahead of him. And I guess it would be because of cricketing reasons and because of some tactical reasons. It could be because of the pitch. We are not sure, but we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. And if he's not hurt, it would be good for us as fans to know the truth, but that might put him in a precarious position with the selectors, rightly or wrongly. Temba and the new coach said I'm trying to understand the print will be clear in the. Athena is asking who is our bowling coach. I'm not sure who is down there with them. I know that Miguel Coley is the coach. I'm not sure who is there with the bowling, doing the bowling aspect of the coaching. Francis John is saying, agree, Blackwood has no place. Go back to to that comment for me, please? Agree, Blackwood has no place in there. Let the wicketkeeper be vice captain. I think Blackwood has done reasonably well. He has not done as well as we would like, but I think he has done fairly well. He needs to make bigger scores though. But he has a decent batting average in the context of West Indies cricket. And I think for now, he merits a place. And the fact that he's vice captain will make it harder for him to drop unless his form is terrible, which at the moment it's not. West Indies has always done this whenever a spinner does well overseas, like Warwick and Moti, they drop them right after. Still haven't seen or heard any concrete statements from Cricket West Indies that Moti is hurt. There's a report that we heard that is why he was not in the 11, that he has a back injury. So again, we have to, without further details, we have to accept what they are saying, that he was injured, because it would make no cricketing sense to drop a man coming off such a tour as he had in Zimbabwe. Vern Jacobs is saying we are not in South Africa, so we don't know, but people might be reacting to the late disclosure of the injury. Yeah, that is true. And that's what I'm saying. We are not on the ground in South Africa, and we are expecting that our selectors, our captain, and our coach will have the team's best interest at heart, and to not pick a man who has done so well in the recent past, a couple weeks ago, to not select him would be cricketing lunacy in my mind. So we have to accept that he's injured, and that's why he did not play. Dwight Morgan is saying, look, somebody's saying that Benjamin is the bowling coach. Go back to the other comment, please. There are 6 Bajans because Haynes want him to perform to get T20 contracts. Again, we have to be, it's all good and well we can speculate and make accusations, but we have no proof of that. The Bajans are in the team outside of, say, Jason Holder, who is probably questionable. All other persons, based on the pool of players that we have, merit a game. Moti is back, will mysteriously get better and play in Johannesburg, where spinner have more help. So let's see. We don't know the nature of the injury. We don't know how long it will keep him out of the team. But let's see if he will play in the second test. But for now, we have no more details other than what we have been told, that Moti is suffering from a back injury. So we have to accept it at face value, because I know many persons are questioning whether he's injured or not. But we have to take it for what it is. And the fact that he's not in the team, we have to focus on the players that are there. So as we look to day 2, let us hope that the West Indies can wrap up these 2 wickets for as minimal a score as possible. I think we need to get them up before they make 350. And then Craig and Chandapal need to give us a solid foundation, give us a solid start. They need to bat to lunch if we can get them out within the first hour and take it from there. We need to bat responsibly, and we need to ensure that we are keeping the scoreboard ticking over. We can't afford to be just occupying the crease without scoring runs. We need to rotate the strike, pick up the singles, pick up the twos, hit the balls in the gap, and take the runs that are available. Because this bowling attack, led by Rabada and Henrik Nauthier, is a decent attack. These 2 men alone can rip through our batting lineup if we don't bat properly. So we have to ensure that we get these 2 wickets fairly cheaply and fairly quickly, and then we need to reply as responsible and as positively as we can. We need to ensure that at the end of day 2, we are in a strong position, hopefully with a loss of about 3 wickets. We need to score at least close to 200 or 250 runs with a loss of about 3 wickets, and enter day 3 with a solid foundation where we can look to get a first innings lead. Because if we can get a first innings lead, then we will stand a good chance of probably winning this test match. We need to get South Africa out in their second innings for a reasonable total where we can probably have a decent target to chase. It will not be easy. So in reviewing this day's play and previewing tomorrow's play, we are hoping that the West Indies can get these wickets early and have a good reply to the South Africans' total. Our two batsmen, the captain and Chandapal, they are in reasonable nick. So I expect them to occupy the crease and to score runs. And I'm positive and I'm hopeful that the West Indies can do the business tomorrow early, get the remaining 2 wickets to bring the South African innings to a close and reply with a decent total at the end of tomorrow's play. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the West Indies will react tomorrow morning, and hopefully we would be in a good position come the end of day 2. So thanks for all the participation in the chat, and we look forward to the West Indies performance come tomorrow morning at 3. Hopefully they can get those remaining wickets and post a decent reply to South Africa's total. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for your participation. That was a review of day 1 of the first test between South Africa and the West Indies, where South Africa ended the day after choosing to bat at 314 for 8, where they dominated the first 2 sessions, and the West Indies put up a gallant fight back to pick up 7 wickets in the final session for 108 runs. So South Africa slightly ahead, but the West Indies are in a fairly decent position where they can hopefully get those remaining wickets and have a decent reply to South Africa's first innings total. Thank you for listening. Thanks for your participation. And let's hope that the West Indies can make us proud by performing as we expect them to, by getting those 2 wickets early tomorrow and replying to South Africa's total by getting as close as possible to it at the end of day 2. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a good night.